what you want with analyzing and reflecting on things is actually to feel more ease, like more understanding, more clarity, and whatever. But maybe reflecting and analyzing is the thing that creates the unclarity and like this stuckness in the first place. And maybe you can enjoy yourself. It says here, waiting with wine and food, without forgetting. Like maybe that's even the bridge to it.
I even see an afraid child that has been hurt by something surprising in the past. So now it's like always on the lookout for the next thing that is hiding in the darkness to hurt the child. And I'm defending this belief because like the child wants to feel safe, and it thinks the only way it can feel safe is by knowing everything that could make it, like all the threats, basically everything that's threatened. And this is the most unstable way of creating safety. It's almost like a fake safety, like an unsafe safety.
Welcome to the Spiritual Bypassers podcast. This week with Jannick and me. We talked about the I Ching, which is a very mystical, mysterious way of telling your future that you actually can access within minutes. Jannick has never heard of this previously, and we got into a really deep and really beautiful process unexpectedly, while also learning why the I Ching is so powerful and could change your life potentially. And Jannick encountered a beautiful king that was rescuing a child out of a cave. And he's feeling pretty good now, pretty excited about life. So if you want to know how that came into being and what role the I Ching played in that process, then stay tuned and enjoy the episode. Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Bypassers podcast. Today with Jannick.
Hello.
Hello. And Tim. Hello. Ashley is not joining us today, and we thought we'd take that as an opportunity to do something really mysterious, mind-boggling / expanding, and insightful, and also slightly spiritual. And where we'll see if it's a spiritual bypass, if it actually resonates. What's actually going on? Tim, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the I Ching. The I Ching. What is the I Ching? I actually found out about the I Ching when I studied the work of Carl Jung. And the I Ching is actually one of the oldest texts in the world. And it dates back to over 3,000 years ago. And it was created in ancient China. And It's a divination tool. It's a sort of oracle that tells you where you're at, like it explains your current situation, and it explains where you are going, and or where your life is flowing, so to speak. It's emerged out of, or it has influenced Taoism, Confucianism, and also modern psychology. Like I just said, the more esoteric psychologists like Carl Jung use this as a synchronicity machine. And I find that really, really interesting because I not only believe in synchronicities, I've had multiple occasions, just like Jannick and just like Ashley, where things happen that just that they seemed like random events, but they are just so deep and so connected to other things in life that they cannot be random. And this is a means to actually create a synchronicity, to create a meaningful coincidence. And this is what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to talk a bit more like about the process and everything. And we're going to dive into it really practically. And you can do this at home as well. I do it very frequently. When I have a question, when I have like a process that I'm in that is, where I just need guidance, I consult the I Ching. And it's also called the Book of Changes. So what it tells you is, like I said, your current situation and what the situation can change into. So it's sort of the present and a healthy future where the Tao, so to speak, wants to flow towards. So yeah, it's all about leaning back into the flow of life. It's really, really cool. Obviously, it's like esoteric. It's sort of either you believe it or you don't. And just like with astrology, human design, and what's the other thing called? The gene keys. It's like I use it as I read these things and I take from it whatever resonates. And so the first thing that I want to do is, first of all, I talked for what feels like 10 minutes to introduce this thing. And I just want to ask you, Jannick, you brought something like a question here. And we talked briefly before hitting the record button. And you asked your question, and that was, why am I so jealous in relationships? And to consult the I Ching, it's actually, interestingly enough, not a good question because it's too analyzing and too backwards focused. And before we started recording this podcast, Jannick and I talked about that. One of the issues he has in his relationships is actually that he's too analytic, and he's losing track of the joys of life, and too much process is happening, roughly speaking. So that's already an interesting thing. And it's more now, now I want to play the ball like back to you and ask you to rephrase this question, maybe to tell me a bit about the situation, and to rephrase this question more future orientated. For example, what can I do to understand jealousy better? What can I do to handle my feelings of jealousy? Or how, even more positively, which inner stance, like how can I conduct myself to foster more trust and more relaxation in my
Safety, yeah.
relationships? Safety, yeah. So maybe you can like tune into that and tell me about the situation, and like where do you want to go with this, because that's already an interesting process.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for the intro. This is very exciting to me because I've never heard of this before, and this is deliberate. I mean, Tim announced the topic in our WhatsApp group, but I told him straight away, I have no idea what this is, and I'm not going to do any research on it. So I'm as new to this as many of you listeners are. And yeah, I find it interesting that my question already tells us so much probably about the way I approach things, right? And as often is the case, in the little we can recognize the bigger theme. So in just me asking one question, you can already learn something about how my mind works, and maybe like that I like to analyze, that I like to process things, that I like to focus on the past and finding the roots of my current situation in the past and trying to resolve that. And what might be missing is a future orientation, a orientation towards a state that is wishful, like that I want to be in more, that I want to cultivate in my life. And there's another, like, again, there we can probably find out the reasons why that is. And if you're familiar with parts work, if you're listening to this podcast, we've talked about this a lot. Probably there's some parts in me that feel like it's safe to talk about the past a lot and understand the past, and it probably has helped me at some point. But it also, at some stages, it really comes to, shows its limits, I'd say. And so, yes, to answer your question, I think a positive way of asking the question is, how can I feel more safe in relationship, in intimate, loving, romantic relationship?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question, and I totally agree with that. That you can reflect as much as you want. If you're not knowing where you're aiming at, like which future you want to grow towards, then you can analyze all you want. Sometimes trying to find the solution is the actual problem, because sometimes it's really just about letting go and switching the focus. And the I Ching says, change is the only constant. And it's such a, it's these kinds of sentences and quotes that are like on these corny calendars. But there's a reason why there's calendars and why these quotes are so widespread. Change is the only constant. That's actually super true. And I feel like when we analyze and we're looking backwards, we try to find for things that are fixed, and we mistake these fixed things. Oh, if I only understand this thing, we mistake this for what it actually is. And that is a dynamic. It's a dynamic process that we can mold, and that is shifting all the time, because our relationship with it is shifting, and the thing itself is not something we can point towards. It's like this tapestry of different aspects. So a relationship is not a relationship we can point towards. It's a dynamic thing that is always changing. And with asking like an open question, we can sort of shift, or it's almost like I see like somebody that is molding like a vase or something. We can mold this thing into what actually feels good for us. And that's why I find solution-oriented questions and actually knowing what I want from this is super helpful.
Yeah, it's a direction, right? It's like a compass. It's like, this is where we're heading. And then the change can flow in that direction. If the change is like a river flowing, you give it some direction, so it starts to flow into that direction.
Yeah. So let's get into it. How does this actually work? So the process itself is like casting the I Ching. What does it mean to cast the I Ching? So the I Ching either works with sticks or coins. You can either throw sticks or you can throw 3 Chinese coins. And then you throw the sticks and the coins 6 times each, and they all fall in a different way. And the process of like the first process is actually pretty complicated. It takes a while to learn it, so I'm not going to explain that. What is important and interesting though is that you get, after casting the coins, you get 2 hexagrams. And those of you who are familiar with gene keys know that the gene keys are constituted by 64 hexagrams. And these are the same hexagrams that are in the book of changes. So what are the hexagrams? So the I Ching is built on a dynamic interplay of yin and yang. And it says that these are like the 2 fundamental forces in nature. As most of you may know, yin is like receptive, passive, more the feminine, and yang is active and expressive. And everything is a dance between these 2 forces. And when we throw the coins, we get 6 lines. 6 lines, and the line is either constant, or the line has a little break in the middle. The constant line is the yang line, and the line with the break in the middle is the female line. And these lines get stacked on top of each other. It sort of looks like a hamburger with like 6 layers. These lines get stacked on top of each other, and the way it looks will determine what hexagram it is. So there's 64 hexagrams, and you get 2 hexagrams per throw. And the first one is telling you sort of where you're at right now, sort of your is situation. And the second hexagram is telling you the direction which you're shifting into. So it's sort of building a bridge from understanding the present to understanding where this situation is optimally flowing towards. And how does this work? So it's actually very simple. If you're feeling like this is super complicated, then bear with me. There's a few websites, and that's mostly what I use, where you can toss the coins. And the website does it for you, and it creates the hexagrams for you. I use a site called Café au Sol. It's widely used. I've been doing a bit of research, and it's widely used, and to me, like, it's a great way to do this. It's been actually, the I Ching has been helping me in times where I felt nothing, like in times of deep crisis. The I Ching was really, really helpful for me, and like balancing my nervous system and giving me a sense of hope. And it never felt diluted. It never felt like I'm telling myself things and I'm like trying to convince myself of things that are not true, but I want to believe them, kind of thing. It always resonated really deeply. So, Jannick, your question was, how can I feel more safe in relationships, right?
Yeah, in romantic relationship.
In romantic relationships. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to toss the coins. Toss the first coin, second one, and I ask you to energetically connect with that intention. I will do the same and sort of repeat the question in my head to send the energy out. Like, once again, it's pretty more on the esoteric side, but let's see what this brings. So Jannick wants to find more safety in his relationships. Okay. So now we have 2 hexagrams. So the first hexagram that emerged from this is, I actually can't pronounce this, is HSU. It's su. Maybe it's pronounced that way. I don't know. It's hexagram number 5. It's called Nourished While Waiting. And it says, failure and success come to test the depth and nature of your commitment. Time is perfectly spaced to hear the echo of your sincerity. The time calls for remaining patient while in a holding pattern. Waiting can be done with patience or worry. It really doesn't affect the outcome. So I'm going to read this, and I want you to listen with an open heart and see where this resonates in your current situation. Because it says that all things take time to develop, and the eventual outcome is never altered by your attitude while waiting. So I feel like it has to do with patience. The journey, however, is more enjoyable when you are patient and receptivity. And a lack of patience can lead to false start, defeat, and humiliation. Why not take a break and allow the situation to unfold? The trigram, which is a hexagram, is consisting of 2 trigrams, which are, hexagram is 6 and trigram is 3. So it's like 2 stacks of trigrams. It gets a bit complicated here, but bear with me. So the nuclear trigram, which is in the hexagram, suggests a hidden influence of opposition that causes a necessary delay. All of life is built upon the bringing together of opposites. High-low pressure systems, hot-cold weather fronts, or positive and negative atoms clash and bring about something new. As the opposite, a period of progress can lead to a time of waiting to allow the elements of what you are seeking to move naturally to a conclusion. Maybe this is, what I'm reading here is that the emphasis is on patience and letting whatever wants to unfold by itself naturally, sort of like a river that is already flowing. And the choice is, I feel like, with analyzing, I'm just channeling freely here. With analyzing, it feels like there is this need to control the river, or like to alter its direction from a place of, oh, this is not good enough, this needs to change. And what I get from these words is that it's a time where actually patience and relaxing into the natural flow is needed. Because it says, perhaps you're waiting for something and need the time to explore your sincerity and whether it is right for you. Use the time of waiting to reevaluate your plan or to build up your reserves against any real future difficulty. A boiling pot won't boil any faster by watching it. and a farmer cannot harvest corn when the seeds are barely sprouting. All is moving forward nonetheless. Balance your desire for an outcome with the natural cycle of time that will nourish it. Trust that when the time is ripe, the situation may yield more than what you had imagined. So I feel like safety also has to do with trust. And here comes my, what's coming up for me in regards to your situation is that analyzing and reflecting to some degree can be a sign of the lack of safety. Like it can be an expression of the lack of safety. Because if there was trust in that everything is unfolding the way it needs to, the way it should, so to speak, and that everything that happened in the past is flowing into something greater, then there is no need to analyze because there's trust. So this is the first hexagram and my humble interpretation of this. What does it do to you, Jannick, hearing this?
Yeah, thank you so much. A lot of things here resonate with me, and I feel like, especially what you said about trust and what it said here in the reading about patience and this natural process of unfolding and trying to control, trying to fix by going into processes, for example, with my partner and like talking about the topics that come up is like a measure of like control. And I shared with you earlier that there's this dynamic of also like enjoying the relationship versus making it somehow better. And making it better involves like taking action for that part of me, which actually, and especially according to what it is saying here, is not really true. It's more like a leaning back. And it's interesting because what came up was like the last days, like 4 or 5 days, I was feeling really good and like in high states of consciousness and relaxed and happy and joyful and in my power. And it was actually the time where I said, okay, why don't I just relax into it? Like there's no danger, no threats right now. How about I just do what I feel like doing? I just, connect to myself and I lean back. And immediately the feelings I had in my body showed me, oh yes, that's like there's resonance there. There's like that's a path for you. And so now this is what comes up for me when I read this. Balance your desire for an outcome with a natural cycle of time that will nourish it. So maybe enjoying the relationship, not going into process, then will actually create the safety I was seeking by controlling it.
Yes, 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 and it gets even. It's so cool. I love it because it's actually working really well. So, what you just said is also reflected if we go a bit deeper into this thing we just like into the both hexagrams and the way they are changing. Because in these two hexagrams, there's two lines that play a role. Two lines that were specifically changing. It's line 2 and line 5. And there's like a myriad ways of how lines can change, and they're all mapped out. In the case of line 2, and this is where it gets really cool. Line 2 is changing from waiting on the sandy shore, the wasted energy of talk,
Yeah.
to after completion. So there's this energy of reflection and almost waiting, like, I don't know. There's a difference between, waiting and expecting something to come. Like there needs to be an answer. There needs to be an answer, instead of just relaxing into it. And it says that energy is expanding. Like it's spending energy. It's like talking about what you will do instead of and trying to force it, or talking about what is needed, what is lacking, instead of allowing yourself to receive the waves that are coming to the shore, like receiving the completion of this natural cycle. It says that just as waves come and go, chaos follows organization and opposition follows a solid structure. So be prepared to ward against it, which means that it's the natural flow of things is an ever returning change between chaos and order. And it's maybe more about receiving the order instead of trying to mold that chaos with force into what you think is right rather than receiving what life wants to give you.
Yeah, I love this. It's like talk less, do more, basically. And I just before I read this, I was already talking about how there's this sense of talking too much about the things,
Yeah.
and then also it says here it reminds you to just do it. And like 2 days ago, I was in the gym and next to the road, and there was this guy on his scooter driving past me, and there was this huge "do it" on the back of his shirt. It was like a special edition Nike shirt, and it just said like "do it" in like huge letters on his back, and it somehow got like stuck in my mind, and I was like, yeah, that's probably like a message for me right now.
Yeah. And here's another cool thing. The second line number 5, is changing from enjoyment without forgetting the goal to peace. You can enjoy yourself, you can relax, you can stop analyzing without that compromising the goal that you have with analyzing. Like what you want with analyzing and reflecting on things is actually to feel more ease, like more understanding, more clarity, and whatever. But maybe reflecting and analyzing is the thing that creates the unclarity and like this stuckness in the first place. And maybe you can enjoy yourself. It says here, waiting with wine and food, without forgetting. Like maybe that's even the bridge to it.
Yeah, that's the bridge to it for sure. It's like what I did, basically, what I just described. It's so interesting. What I just described, what I did the last couple of days, was exactly that. I was kind of like waiting with wine and food and saw things evolve and like becoming better in like a flow compared to the days before where I tried to make things happen, but it was not in the natural flow and felt much worse.
Yes. And I get a pretty clear image here when it says you have a sense of peace and can relax and enjoy the time of waiting. It's almost like finding out what you actually want to receive and sort of pray for that, like sending that out into the cosmos, and then just wait for the gifts to come, like wait for the blessing to manifest in your life, and just be like, hey, wait a second. What are we trying to do with like analyzing and reflecting? We want like these and that, quality in our relationship. Make that a prayer and say, I'm allowing myself to receive whatever, and then just enjoying the time while waiting for it, rather than trying to get closer to it.
Yeah.
And enjoying life. I mean, that's also what you like. It's a lot about enjoyment. Simplicity is also because in analysis and reflecting, everything gets really, really complex. And just enjoy, just like you said, enjoying the simplicity of life. Maybe enjoying like a scooter ride, or what we also talked about, what makes life meaningful and to be nourished.
Yeah.
So this was only the first hexagram. Now the second one comes. And
I'm curious.
Like a hexagram has, I'm not like I'm conscious that I don't want to get into like all the details, but each hexagram has like an action that you can also interpret. And the action for this one, it's reignite. We have here hexagram number 36. It's called Ming Yi, which means brightness hiding. The action is reignite. So It says, don't sweep issues under the rug, but don't allow obstacles to break your spirit. Difficulty is simply testing your sincerity. When the world grows dark, your inner light is given definition. Oh wow, these are the direct like translations from the Book of Changes, which have a lot of depth. Like this image is pretty amazing. When the world grows dark, your inner light is given definition. This light that shines in the darkness, it cannot be concealed. It illuminates the eyes. That's pretty powerful. When the world grows dark, your inner light is given definition. Like in this darkness, in this conflict and this emotional turbulence, it's a call to light is a symbol for consciousness. It's a call to refine consciousness and to make it more pristine, make it more defined. And the light that shines in the darkness cannot be concealed. It illuminates the eye, so it allows us to see. And light is also the bright side of life, the things that you see, the things that you look towards. I feel like it's connected to this sort of the theme that is accompanying us through this process is instead of reflecting, seeing what could be the result of reflecting. What do I actually want? And this is what is illuminating the eyes. It illuminates where we're looking. It creates more clarity.
Yeah, and it's like instead of looking for the light outside, trying to make it happen through like talking, it's basically you light up the world with your own light. You light up your life with your own light by reconnecting to it and becoming aware of it.
Yeah. And also an interesting thing is that I think this is also the case in Chinese medicine. It's a lot about excess. Like when a certain energy is present too much, and the scale, sort of the inner scale, the inner balance, the inner harmony of energies gets out of balance if one energy is just too present. And it says that in Taoism there is no such thing as punishment. Nature merely seeks to turn something back when it is in excess. We follow a same sort of balance and travel inward and outward according to fixed rhythms. So this is not the time to begin anything new or to continue pushing forward. The only way your inner light can be kept burning is if you turn within and stoke the flame. You might be forced to keep believing in something others have decided is impossible. And there's a hidden influence, which is another I Ching term that is like influencing this particular hexagram and the situation. The hidden influence of liberation promises that relief is in sight. The situation may have become entangled, or your actions have moved towards embroiling and button pushing. And this is the excess that can happen when emotion and illusion override stillness and strength. This is like this is pretty accurate here. So relief is inside.
This is the sentence resonates most, is the last one.
Yeah.
When like emotion and illusion override stillness and strength, it's almost like being entangled in emotion and illusions, thoughts, fears, instead of being connected to the stillness and the strength within, which creates the safety. It's like trying to build safety, build like a model of safety, build like an idea of safety, while the true and the real safety is found within, in this, like by reconnecting again, what I said earlier, to the stillness and the strength within.
Yes, to the trust, to the safety that is already there. And I feel like trust and safety, like I can only trust someone or something if I feel safe. And if I feel safe with someone, I automatically trust them. And if life or the future or whatever feels like unsafe, then I there's also no trust in things actually being able to turn out in a way that is good. So
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
it's pointing towards like inner safety, and it also says that it's like what I'm like a word that I'm reading in both of the hexagrams is being misunderstood. Does that resonate? Because I feel reflecting is like I need more understanding. Like I feel like I need to find out more, and then you're reflecting and you're sort of in that cognitive loophole, and things
It's a
get more.
fear, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like a deep fear that I could analyze based on my past, of course, immediately, because that's what I do and how I roll. A deep fear that there's still something there hidden, like always. It's like always this something's hidden and I don't know about it. And I need to find out about it in order to feel safe. What's the next thing that's hidden that could lead to this big surprise, this big turn of events, this big happening that will forever like hurt me or whatever, right? So
Mm.
like there's a part of me always looking for that thing that I'm missing. What am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? I have to be missing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's an illusion. That's why I said it's like I create this illusion and to never be able to feel safe. And of course, this I
Mm.
didn't make this illusion up. In ultimate sense, I did, but in a relative human sense, I this is a reflection of my childhood.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's like there must be something more. I must overlook something, and I feel like even though it sounds like an inward search, it still has this energy of making something else responsible for my well-being. Like whenever I ask like, oh, what's the reason why I feel so shitty, it's almost like I'm trying to find another thing that I can point my finger at, and that's, oh yeah, and because of that I feel the way I do now, you
Yeah, and
know.
it's also not only about myself; it's also about my partner. So the same
Mm.
pattern applies to the psyche, almost like in the subconscious of my partner. It's almost like I will not rest until the whole subconscious of me and my partner is exposed to me, and only then I will feel safe. And per definition, the subconscious is the subconscious, and there's always something exposed and something hidden. And it feels almost like that now that I'm talking about it, as if I'm under the illusion that in order to feel safe, it needs to be all exposed, which is by definition of the subconscious not possible. It's only like an ever enlightening process, like ever more light is coming into the darkness. But it will never be like only light. We are constituted by light and darkness, by the unconscious and the conscious.
Yes, yes, exactly. And it says here as well, like, again, super like hitting the spot, the underlying cause of conflict, because there's always also a conflict in the hexagrams. The underlying cause of conflict, quote unquote, out there has now led to a period of examining the root of conflict in here. You have this period to understand the beliefs you defend to yourself. So first of all, it's basically what we just talked about, like out here versus out there versus in here. And then the idea that maybe you're defending certain beliefs to yourself, like you're trying to hold on and defend this illusion, or like this belief that you have to find like an answer, and you really believe something is missing here and we need like more answers. And the thing is, this can come from an energy of, oh yeah, I really believe there's something more here, and I'm here to find find the answers, and that be connected with an uplifting, empowering energy. But what I hear when I listen to you, it's more like this cluttered, oh, there needs to be something more. It's like this wise old man that sits in the corner and thinking and thinking and thinking, and he just doesn't get like an answer because he's too entangled with his thinking.
Yeah, I even see an afraid child that's like that has been hurt by something surprising in the past. So now it's like always on the lookout for the next thing that is hiding in the darkness to hurt the child. And I'm defending this belief because the child wants to feel safe, and it thinks the only way it can feel safe is by knowing everything that could make it, like all the threats, basically everything that's threatening. And this is the most unstable way of creating safety. It's almost like a fake safety, like an unsafe safety.
And if you like, we can get a bit into parts work because the reading is like naturally coming. There's no more information at this point. But what's when you connect to that child and you meet it with an open heart, you can see that it's having a certain role it doesn't really want to have. Is that correct? Like it's there to create safety, but it's like, oh, that's too much, or that's not really what I want to do. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a role it has to take on because it thinks it's the only way to feel safe.
Yeah. And can you ask that part what would happen if you gave up that role?
Yeah, then I am very vulnerable to things that I might not be able to foresee and that will hurt me. And somehow another thing that came was I will not be as good of a partner anymore because this like looking out for things also enables me to be very attentive, and this attentiveness enables me to be a good partner.
So the part feels like when this role is being given up, the relationship could end, and you would feel it would feel guilty of that, something like that.
Guilty, not sure about guilty, but would feel hurt, like a failure. Ashamed, probably also.
And it's also touching for you to be in touch with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I feel like it's a very certain frequency, a very certain quality of being touched, the emotion that is present within you. It's very specific, very special. And I just invite you to be with that just for this moment, with what is showing itself. That there's a
Yeah,
child, a little. Yeah.
I can sense something in my chest, like contraction, and my throat. Almost like pulling in, making me like small, like closing my heart and chest area down, and my throat as well.
And the child that you saw, when you're in touch with these emotions, and the movements in your body. How does it look? How does it react?
It says, don't look at me. Doesn't trust anyone. Can only trust itself.
Yeah. I invite you to, because that has an emotional resonance with you, what the child says, and I invite you to share that with the child, either out loud or in your mind. How it's making you feel to witness that.
It's almost like also like a very powerful protector or something, like a dragon or like a strong force that's like really big and strong, and it's like saying like, fuck off, don't look here, like leave the child alone.
Yeah. And I invite you to validate the power that this part has. You can see that's powerful and that the child is really important to that part. And he doesn't want the child to be harmed. And you don't want that either. And nothing's going to happen that will harm the child.
Yeah, I can see the power also as like very strong self-love, because it's here, like it seems like this is very meaningful to me, and this is about myself, and it's very meaningful to me to protect it, so it's not about anyone else, just about me.
Yeah. Can you direct these words or this energy that is behind these words toward the powerful part and see what is changing? You can see that it's an expression of love. What is happening?
Yeah, it almost feels like a bit too much power to be contained, like, because it wants to almost distribute or like be like shared all over my body. It just like be integrated, wants to be integrated, but it's like a lot, so it feels like needs to be held down, almost like, okay, now I have this, but now I want to go like everywhere in all those places, and now I need to like contain that.
Yeah. And that in you, which is feeling like it has to go like everywhere at the same time, is also a part. And I invite you to tell that part to take 2 steps back so you can meet it properly and you can look at it. Share if that part is showing its face, showing how it looks like.
Yeah, it's a very like energetic child, and excited. It's like I don't know why, but I'm seeing like a comic child that it has, the hairs are replaced with fire, so it's like fire burning out of their head, and they're like really excited and joyful and want to go everywhere and be curious about everything.
And I invite you to tell that part, thank you for showing yourself. And notice how you feel towards that part. Sounds like it's an enthusiastic, lively, young part that has like a lot of energy. And it's quite entertaining to see.
Yeah, and then it somehow has this like aspect of being too much and needing to be held down, which was coming up earlier. Like it's not good to go to all those places. Like I want to do it, but it's not good to do it. Almost like a strong black belt around it that's like holding it in place.
So the part is saying that it wants to go everywhere, but it also feels it's not good to do that? Or is that another part who is having that judgment?
Yeah, it's more the black belt that's doing that.
Okay.
And
Yes.
it's somehow related like to my father. My father came up now like 2 or 3 times, almost like having the black belt is like being held back by a strong masculine present, not strong, but physically strong.
Yeah. And you can see if this resonates with you. I'm sensing held back and also contained in some way. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like a form of embrace, or like a form of containment, almost like a riverbed or something like that, right? Because that part wants to be everywhere at the same time, which is it has a lot of energy that is amazing. And also, it's like a river that needs to be guided, contained, and channeled.
Yeah.
And the belt is also some sort of tube almost when it's around the waist. So I'm allowing yourself to see the validity in everything that is showing itself right now. That maybe this belt is not like a burden or like a curse or anything bad, but maybe it's important that the belt is there, and to be curious about that.
Yeah, it's definitely, I have a part that feels like this is mean. I want to be able to go everywhere, but the words also like resonate and somehow it's transforming. It's like not so negative anymore, this containment. It's more like, oh, this is actually really useful and practical to be able to contain that. And
Yeah.
also has given me gifts in my life to be able to do that.
Yeah. And I wonder how this powerful dragon part that you encountered before, when it's seeing all of this happening, how does it react?
It's more calm right now, and it's like saying like, yeah, it's true. Like my power wants to be controlled.
Yes, and this child is powerful as well, right? It has a lot of energy, a lot of potential power that is like expressing.
Yeah, it has a lot of joy also.
Yeah.
It's more like a lot of joy and innocence. And the dragon has more like power and strength and anger. and drive.
Yeah. 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 And what about the very young part that the dragon was guarding in the beginning? How does he react?
He likes that there's power in the system. And like feels really nice to see the presence of the dragon, because it's like shows that I can deal with things. Like if things come up in my life, the dragon can deal with it, because what it's trying to do is like only trust itself and protect from connection and hurt and pain that is created in connection. And the child has a really, really strong fear that people are going to wrong him.
Yeah.
Like they are
Like
going to,
feeling misunderstood. Yeah.
yeah, they are going to wrong me, and they like make fun of me and not take me serious. And no, like I'm not gonna allow them to do it, so I'm gonna close down and like shut down and be careful.
Yeah. Is that, and when it shuts down, is that when the dragon comes in? Is that sort of what the walls that are shutting down that child, that are protecting it in that moment?
No, the dragon comes in when you try to give love to that part. But in everyday life, it's almost like the child has like a cave or something where it just can like shut down and
Yeah. Retreat, hide.
retreat,
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
closed off.
Yeah. And can you allow yourself to be compassionate towards that part in you that has been hurt and that is fearful, that wants to be in connection even, but at the same time feels like that's dangerous.
Yeah, I can be compassionate and also like angry at the same time at the grown-ups that did this to him.
Yeah.
But I recognize a pattern that this anger that I have shows up in a way of like a punishment, in a form of self-punishment. So I punish myself, so I punish them for their wrongdoing. If they see how much I punish myself, they will be somehow punished too, because they see it, that it's the consequence of their doing. That's what the child is doing to itself.
So the child is in its cave and sort of feels this energy of punishment. Or
Yeah,
is even actively punishing.
punishing myself and therefore punishing my parents and my partner.
Yeah. And how do you feel towards that part, witnessing that?
Yeah, I feel compassion. I feel like I can see it's not safe to, it doesn't feel safe to punish them, so safer to punish yourself. It's also a stronger punishment for them to punish yourself. It's very smart. Works. but it's doing it to get love and connection.
Yeah.
So there might be a better way to get that.
Yeah. And I invite you to communicate that you can see that it wants love and connection, and that you're here. Like, I'm here for you. I see you. I'm witnessing you, and I am here to understand you.
Yeah, this feels really nice. It creates this sense of self-empowerment and like reassurance that, let's stop this. Let's trust that we know how to handle painful situations. Let's stop protecting from it. And then there's like a doubt coming up, like I have unlearned how to know if I can trust someone or not, because I'm so deluded by all this fear and all this past. So like how can I know, how can I make a good judgment of whether to trust someone or not?
So this child in the cave, it has been responsible. It was sort of its role to, guard you against people that are not trustworthy, and against
Yeah.
the pain of being hurt. Yes. And I'm inviting you to see, or inviting you into the perspective that maybe the child wants a different role, and maybe a different part is needed that fulfills that role in a mature way. So I'm asking you to be with that child and invite something holy, something that is holy to you, something that is sacred to you into the space, something that is powerful, something that is wise, something that is gentle and warm, and has a deep, deep wisdom that knows more than you could ever know. Something that is deep inside of you, into that space with the child. You just see what reveals itself.
Yeah, so it's immediately clear that it's the archetype of the king.
Yes.
Who is like infused by his connection to God, and his wisdom stems from like a deeper place.
Yeah.
And he takes on responsibility because he loves his kingdom and his people, which is like my parts.
Exactly.
And he uses not only his emotions, but he uses also his sharp mind, and he balances it with his empathy.
Yes.
So like he's a good
Yeah.
he's a good fulfiller of that role.
Yeah.
So he also like stepped onto the cage and broke it because he doesn't need the cage to make his judgments. He wants to sit on his throne, and he keeps it underneath the throne like as a almost like an artifact, like a memory that he's doing this out of love also for the child, that it can be free.
Yes. And how does the child react when it sees that, when it witnesses that king?
Yeah, the child is like still surprised and feels a bit naked, but also like really likes it and wants to try it out. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. It can only be better than what it was before.
And if that king would speak to the child, what would he say?
It would say, you can relax. This is not your place. This should have never been your place. But mistakes happen. I'm here to correct them. And invite in the feeling of support and guidance.
Yeah.
This is what you were missing as a child, is now invited in, and see what changes.
Yeah. And when you connect to the child now, and now that the king is here, ask the child, what do you want to do now that you are protected? What do you want to do now?
It wants to rest.
And where does it want to rest?
Wants to rest next to the king and like watch him and feel his presence and let the feeling sink in of being supported.
And what is changing for the child now that he feels supported and he is next to the king in his new life?
It can like breathe deeper and feels like more like safe moving around, more opportunity, more safe.
How do you feel now when we're coming to a close, watching that process?
Yeah, I feel this is a path that's unfolding for me, which is constituted by self-love and self-empowerment and trust in myself, and like this strength and connection to my masculine and to my brothers and to the source of so much beautiful, warm, loving, lightful energy that I allow myself to receive and be fueled by. And right now I feel that as a warm sensation in my chest and like an upward, straighter posture and more calmness. I can also feel some nervousness around this. It's like new, but it's almost like it's a training over the last weeks, month, of inviting it in more and more and allowing myself to be with this sensation more and more and let my actions be infused by it.
Yeah. It's almost like the king is like a synthesis of this enthusiastic child and the part that is containing that, the powerful part. It's almost like they've been molten, merged together, and the king has like emerged from that. Like this enthusiasm, this warm enthusiasm, but not as like jumpy enthusiasm, but as like, yes, like a warm, blessing, positive, but grounded kind of energy, while being like a calm warrior and guide at the same time, like being really, really powerful, but and enthusiastic to some degree, and warm and lively, and also grounded and determined and open and very, very loving, and like, yeah, this kingly, this mighty energy.
Yeah, it feels like a balanced synthesis of the child, the belt as well, which is the containment in a positive way,
Yeah,
the dragon, and then also my light and my wisdom that was there all along. But if not connected to the compassion and the love and the excitement, it's just dry and creates fear and over analysis and stuff like that. So it needed like those four elements to come together for the king energy to emerge from that.
yeah, and I want to refer back to the I Ching we had before, because there was also a line about punishment, and it says that in Taoism there is no such thing as punishment. It's only nature seeking to return something back into balance when it is in excess. So the child was sort of, it needed that protection, that kingly energy, that warm masculine energy, and it couldn't provide that to itself, because no child should be its own parent, so to speak, its own king. And now it feels like this balance has been restored, and the child is also where a child belongs, looking up to a healthy role model, and just being free, like to explore, to roam around, to
Yeah,
go to the king when it needs something. And
yeah,
it's
it was
been
a cry for
balanced.
help. The
Yes,
self
exactly.
punishment is a cry for help and for love. It's like it's not punishment because of the sake of punishment. It's like this is the only way the child knew to get like attention, to get love, to get like a feeling here something's off balance here, something needs to be done here. I need help.
Exactly. Exactly. And then the king comes in, and we, in that whole process, we never told the child to change. The child naturally changed when the energy that it needed got introduced. We never told the child, hey, go to that king and play with him. He naturally started to feel safe when this warm protection was being invited into the space. It was a natural consequence almost.
Yeah.
And it's
Beautiful.
so interesting that the child, it's almost this powerful quote: "Heal the boy, and the father will appear." And in this case, it was very much, "and the man will appear." Well, maybe it was a Freudian slip, I don't know, but this is what it feels like, and it happened simultaneously. The king appeared, and simultaneously a childhood part was healed.
Yeah.
And the king also emerged sort of on his own. Like, we never said, yeah, and now we're going to have this king and he will come in. It's like humbly asking the psyche, humbly asking your body and everything that is going on, please show me the way, show me something sacred, show me what I need right now. And then it showed up magically. And
Yeah.
this is
It's
fascinating to
almost
me.
like there's an infinite source of golden energy there, and you can, like like you said in this episode, mold something out of it. You can create something out of it, and the king just immersed. Like, you ask the right question to that golden sphere, to that golden infinite mass, and the answer appears.
Yes. Yes. And it's almost like two different rooms where we often search for answers. One is the room of analysis, that is like, here's everything that I think I know, and I'm going to look at all the like little paper clips and all the maps and stuff that is in the room. And then there's another room where there's just a throne, and you kneel down and you pray for the answers to come to you, because it, it needs, by definition, it needs to be something that I don't know of. Something needs to arise, something needs to come up. And this is also, I think this is coming to a great like full circle moment. This is all about receptivity. Like, you received this king energy more than you actively created it. It was like humbly asking, hey, the child needs this, I know it can't provide that. And I know, like, and this is where prayer becomes really powerful and an actual reality. You're praying for something bigger to come out of your depth, maybe even come out of the deeper regions of that cave. And then the king appeared.
Yeah. And I had to step out of the way of, like, the natural everyday state of consciousness had to step out of the way for that to immerse, to become receptive, like you said. Or I love the real meaning of the word passive. Is like, passive just means you become passive for something to pass through you. So it's passive does
Yeah,
not mean what a lot of people think it is, like inactive. It's more like passive. You can pass through me now, whatever needs to pass through me.
yeah, yeah. I love that. Well, that was. I'm burping since a minute the entire time. It's very powerful, and yeah, this is just to show how you can use the I Ching for once, and how you can process whatever comes up, like whatever. So what we did basically, we had the reading in front of us, and we were looking for cues, like what is resonating, resonating, what is naturally appearing as meaningful. And then in the end, there was a natural organic process that was coming out of that. And for some reason, what we have learned from the I Ching, what resonated there, also played a big role in the process we had afterwards and in Jannick's inner world.
Yeah,
So I
I love
think
it.
this is a good moment to wrap this episode up. It's been a pretty long one, but we love a good, long, deep episode. And yeah, like Cafe au Soul, you just Google it and you'll be able to have your own I Ching reading. I wholeheartedly recommend it just to try it out. It's free. It's a cool thing to get into. And yeah, I guess with that, I give the last words to Jannick, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you, Tim. I am very grateful that you did this with me, and grateful we recorded it for other people to see, because this is exactly what I want. Like when I want to share with the world is how these esoteric things can actually become a doorway into your subconscious, into the things that need to be seen and healed within you. And it's not about some magical thing. Well, I will call it magic. To me, it's magic, but maybe the word magic doesn't resonate with you. It's just about truth. It's like you always measure truth with sensation and resonance in your body. Somebody tells you something and your body knows this is the truth for me or this is not. And then you just follow that truth, and then something beautiful can emerge out of it. And I feel like this is what happened here. So yeah, this is beautiful. And from a personal standpoint, I'm very excited to see how this unfolds in my life. And yes, thank you for listening up to this point, and hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you give us a thumbs up, a comment. Let us know about your Ching reading. Let us know about your doubts. Let us know about what excited you and resonated in this episode. And follow us, subscribe on the podcast platform of your choice, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye bye.